Okay, boleh go.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I be to everyone. And today we will explore social struggles and injustice in modern Thai literature. Literature is not just storytelling, it reflects reality. Through poetry, short stories, and films, we can understand how social inequality, identity can shape human experiences. Today, we have three special panelists representing different voices in Thai literature. Firstly, a poet inspired by Chiranan Pit Pricha, which is Alia Fakihah, and then a short story writer representing Seksan Persit Kul, which is Miss Cik Wan Anis, and finally, a film director inspired by Natawut Puntiria. Okay, let's begin with the poet. First of all, Miss Alia. Can I call you Miss Alia?
Yes, you can.
Okay, Miss Alia. As a poet, how does poetry reflect social struggles and injustice?
Okay, thank you, moderator. Okay, I think poetry reflects a social struggle by giving people a way to express what they often can't say openly. Instead of directly confronting injustice, poetry uses images and symbols to show how oppression feels on personal level. In my case, which I am very inspired by Chiranan Pitpricha, a poetry becomes a quiet form of resistance. It speaks even when people are forced to stay silent.
Can you give us a simple example?
Sure. In Cracked Pebble, the pebble represents marginalized individuals, and at the beginning, it seems small and unimportant, just like how society often overlooks certain groups. But as the poem develops, the crack in the pebble doesn't break it. Instead, it shows that it can survive pressure.
So the crack is not a weakness.
Exactly. It actually represents strengths. The injustice here is how society labels people as weak or insignificant, when in reality they are much more resilient than they appear.
Would you say this is also about resistance?
Yes, but not loud resistance. It's quiet. The pressure on the pebble, especially in the middle of the poem, can represent social or political control. But the pebble doesn't shatter. So just surviving, just continuing to exist, become an act of resistance.
Okay, that's powerful. How does this link to identity?
I think identity is shaped through these struggles. When people face injustice, they start questioning who they are and where they belong. In the poem, the pebble's identity changes. At first, it represents something invisible, but by the end, the crack becomes a proof of survival. So, identity isn't fixed, it's something that grows through hardship.
So there's also an internal struggle happening.
Yes, definitely. It's not just about what society does to people, but also how people see themselves because of that. The poem shows that even when people are hurt or cracked, they can still redefine who they are.
Okay, why do you think poetry is so effective in showing this?
Because poetry makes us feel it, not just understands it. In the works of Chiranan Pitpricha, you can see this tension between silence and voice, fear and courage. And that emotional depth is what makes poetry powerful. It connects us to the human side of injustice.
All right, final question. What's one message you want the audience to take away?
So the message that I want you guys to take away is that even the smallest voice can carry strength, like the cracked pebble. People who seem fragile are often the one who endure the most, and through poetry, their silence becomes something that cannot be ignored.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Alia. Now let's move on to the short story writer, the second panelist, which is, can I call you Miss Anis?
Yes, sure, sure.
Okay, Miss Anis, my question will be now, as a short story writer, how do you portray social struggles?
Okay, so my short stories, it was inspired by um, another short stories which is called In a Bamboo Bridge Over Eclipse. So in this story, social struggles is shown through both physical and emotional experiences. So, for example, poverty is clearly seen when the narrator recalls in the story, she broke the piggy bank to take out the coins. So this part shows that how even small amounts of money are important for survival.
That's very emotional. Um, what other struggles are shown?
I would say there is also sacrifice. Okay, so um, when the narrators in the story says that her mother never begged from anyone, so this part shows the dignity despite the hardship that they face. So the dangerous river that described as what we call in the stories, let me recall, a
Take your time.
sea of boiling mud. Okay, so this part, okay, symbolize life's challenges. So this reflects on how individuals struggle against forces beyond their control.
Okay. How does this relate to injustice?
It shows that not everyone can start from the same position in life. Okay, so some people, they must struggle harder just to survive, and sometimes there is also like this is a form of social injustice.
Okay, very interesting, Miss Anis. Now, last but not least, we move on to our final panelist, which is can I call you Miss, which is Fatima Mawada. Can I call you Miss Betty?
Yes, sure.
Okay. My first question. Now, from a filmmaker's perspective, how does film portray social injustice?
Before that, hi everyone. You can call me Fatty. Okay, so from a filmmaker point of view, I think film is a very powerful medium because it allows us to um, visualize inequality in a way that audiences can immediately understand and feel. So, as you can see, Bad Genius, social injustice is portrayed through the education system, where success is not defined purely by intelligence, but also by social class and uh, financial background. We see this clearly through the character of Lee, the female lead in this movie, who is academically gifted, but she comes from a very modest background, while her wealthier peers they are able to rely on money to gain advantages. So this contrast makes the inequality very visible and yet relatable to the audience.
Okay, interesting. But now, what are the key issues shown in the film?
So actually, this film highlights several important issues. Firstly, you can see that it represents class inequality, where students from privileged backgrounds they are able to access opportunities that others cannot. This is reflected in Lynn's statement. If you do not cheat, life will cheat on you, which suggests that the system itself is already unfair. So, secondly, mm, the film explores corruption within the education system. Okay, so as you can see, what begins as a simple act of helping a friend It gradually develops into a structured cheating operation, showing how academic system can be commercialized and also influenced by money. And the last one, the film addresses the issue of moral pressure, particularly through the character of Beck, the other male lead in the story. Okay, despite being very hardworking and principled, he is eventually pushed into the unethical decisions due to his circumstances, which reflects how social inequality can very influence someone's personal value and also choices.
Okay, very interesting. And finally, was this inspired in any way by real life, the real world?
Yeah, so according to Natawood Korea, the film was inspired by real issues within the education system, particularly the pressure placed on students to succeed and the existence of unethical practices such as cheating. So as you can see, this connection to reality makes the film even more impactful as it reflects how social pressures and also inequality are not just fictional elements but actual challenges faced by the individuals in today's society.
Okay, that will be all for now, Miss Betty. Thank you very much. And now I would like to conduct a quick discussion for all three of you. My first question will be, what connects your works despite the different forms that you use?
Okay, I think I believe
Can you choose one?
okay, I think I believe what connect us is the presence of struggle. In poetry, I try to give voice to those who are often unheard, people facing injustice, oppression, and identity conflicts. Even when the language is symbolic, the emotions are very much real.
Okay, that's powerful, Miss Alia. So, this idea of struggle is central for, from a poet's perspective. And what about from a storytelling perspective?
Well, actually, I agree. So, in short stories, struggles become more grounded in everyday life. Okay, we can see hardship. Okay, so whether it's political, economic, or personal, it shapes how people make decisions and also how people shape their identities. So, my work often reflects on how ordinary individuals are caught in larger systems beyond their control.
Okay, so this connection between personal and political is really interesting. How does film approach this, panelist three?
Um, like I said before, films allows us to visualize the struggles clearly. So through characters and narratives, we can truly see and can uh, show how inequality directly influences choices, especially among the young people nowadays. It's not just about big dramatic moments, but also the quiet pressures that shape who we become.
Hmm. So, would it be fair to say that all your works explore how struggle and inequality influence identity?
Absolutely. Identity is often formed through resistance.
About Miss Anis?
I would say it can also be through survival in difficult circumstances.
Miss Betty?
I think it can also uh, be because of the choices people are forced to make.
Okay, so that brings me to my final question. Do you think these issues are still relevant today?
From me, yes, definitely. Social injustice and inequality still exist, just in different forms.
Well,
Mhm.
I think sorry, okay. To me, I agree with your statement because these themes in some cases they have become even more complex in to the society in the modern society.
As for me, I totally agree with Miss Anis and also Miss Alia because these themes continue to resonate, especially with younger generations who are um, navigating these challenges in different and new ways.
Okay, thank you to all three panelists for incredible insights. It's clear that across poetry, prose, and film, these voices of struggle, identity, and inequality remain deeply relevant and continue to shape both art and society today. So, in conclusion, modern Thai literature highlights social struggles through different forms: poetry, short stories, and also films. Each medium reveals how inequality, pressure, and injustice can shape identity and the human experience. These works remind us that literature is a reflection of society, and, and these issues are still relevant today. With that, I conclude our discussion today, and thank you.